Howdy folks, and welcome to the video for the Japanese premium tier 10 destroyer, the Hayate. So I have played better games of World of Warships, I have played worse games of World of Warships, but I have never played more of what I would call a textbook game of World of Warships. Like when I got done with this game, I was like, wow. I mean, if I wanted to show somebody how to play destroyer, especially Japanese torpedo boat destroyer in World of Warships, I don't know that I could do better than this, which might sound like a bit of a humble brag. I'm not saying I played perfectly, but what I'm saying is like everything I tried to do in this game worked, and it's just a boilerplate, like a narrative for how to play Japanese torpedo boat successfully in this game. And it starts with me right here, just heading to this cap as fast as I can and then backing into it. I'm going to spot this Dmitry Donskoy, and I know exactly what I need to do. I need to bait out his radar, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to touch the cap. He's going to radar me, and then I'm going to peace out. I'm going to avoid his shells. Then I'm going to go spot him while my teammates delete him. Then the destroyer that's over here is going to run away. And then I'm going to go kill an undefended battleship, and then I'm going to cap this cap, and then we're going to take the other team to 0 points, and then we're going to win the game. And that's it. Game over. I mean, it's literally like, I don't know. Yeah. It would be like if you were in flight school and they wanted to show you training video. I mean, they wouldn't show you the absolute best, highlight reel flying where they flip the plane upside down. They would just show you competent, above average, kind of immaculate gameplay. And to be clear, this is not that. I'm going to make at least one mistake, but I'm not going to get punished for it. But yeah, so, I mean, does that mean the Hayate is a really amazing ship? No, I don't think that's what it means. So let's talk about the Hayate for a moment. Those of you who have played the game a long time already know kind of what the Hayate is and what its story is. But just as a recap, it's a ship that used to be available for an enormous amount of free XP. It was kind of an accomplishment. They called it a special ship. And it's essentially a sister to the Shimakaze. It's a lot like the Shimakaze. And the summary of the differences that I would say is that it's like the Shimakaze, but just slightly less so. So whatever the Shimakaze is, the speedy, spotting, torping battleships, undefended caps, destroyer, the Hayate is that, but just slightly less so, like more towards an all-around destroyer. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Obviously, that depends on how you play and what you want. Personally, my personal opinion is it's not a good thing. Like from a game design perspective, I think when you want to play a ship like the Shimakaze, you should play the Shimakaze. And if you want less Shimakaze, then you probably just shouldn't be playing the Shimakaze. Like it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the last time I played Dungeons and Dragons, they had a new class called the Sorcerer, which was like a magic user, except slightly less so. Like you give up some of the magic user bits in return for being slightly more capable and competent at like melee combat and combat in general. But like usually that's not a good trade, especially for experienced players in a game. Like you want to be like more extreme. I mean, it depends. I mean, it just depends on what you want. That's a blanket statement. Obviously, there's counter arguments, but yeah, if you want an all-around destroyer, then play an all-around destroyer. Play the small end or the gearing. Plus, the Shimakaze is a tech tree ship. It's one of the best tech tree ships in the game. It's totally free. Just play the Shimakaze. So, like, who is the Hayate for? I mean, I guess if you're really good at Shimakaze, but you just kind of get sick of being completely pigeonholed, it is nice. So you have much stronger guns. I mean, they're just generally more competent. Not that the Shimakaze's guns are all that bad, because I don't think they're as bad as people think they are. They have really good alpha and penetration on the HE, but the Hayate's guns, you get a much better reload. The cost you pay for that, well, for one thing, you only get 2 torpedo launchers instead of 3, and you can't pick the 8 or the 20-kilometer torpedoes. You only get the 12s, but that's okay because that's what everybody plays anyway. In return for the 2 launchers instead of 3, you get a torpedo reload booster, which is almost as good, but I would argue generally not quite as good. You still get super hard hitting torpedoes. They do an enormous amount of damage. But the main thing that happens to you, and you see it right here as I make this mistake, this Heisen, is you lose some of that amazing concealment. You go from 5.6 fully spec to 6.1. And that's a serious bummer. I mean, it doesn't make the Hayate bad, but it does, in my opinion, make it worse than the Shimakaze. Because for this role, I mean, that Shimakaze detect is just, as this Essex yoinks my kill. Didn't need that. Didn't need to do that, but that's okay. I always talk about how there's no such thing as yoinking kills, so I'd be a ridiculous hypocrite if I complained about it there. But yeah, I mean, you sort of see the chain of events, right? To recap, I backed into the cap, I baited out the radar, we killed the Dmitry Donskoy, the Hirugamo ran away, I torpedoed the Heisen, who, by the way, totally should have seen that coming, but didn't. And now I'm going to cap C, and then we're going to win the game. So yeah, I mean, that's how to play Japanese torpedo boats. I mean, obviously this was a blowout. We would have won anyway, but it's just, you know, in a game that was closer, this is still pretty much the ideal way to play. Now, of course, it's not going to work out this well. Every time the Donskoy could have held his radar, he could have hit me with his guns. The Hirugamo could have not run away, but instead spotted my teammates. The Heisen could have used his brain to realize what was probably about to happen to him and turned and ran away to the back of the map. I mean, you know, lots of things could have gone differently. Or the Heisen could have realized I was there and turned in and shot at me and, you know, maybe even won that engagement. But they didn't, you know, coulda, shoulda, woulda. So, yeah, I mean, but again, the Hayate, you know, should you pick it up? I don't know. Probably not, honestly. I mean, I would just buy the Shimakaze and play that. It's free, at least in terms of like real money. And it's more focused. You know, the Hayate gives you delusions, right? You start thinking like, oh, I can duel that destroyer. And I mean, maybe you can, you know, you certainly can, much better than you could in the Shima, but that's just not really what the Hayate is for, you know? And it's kind of big and it's very fast in a straight line, just like the Shima, but also like the Shima, it's a little bit big and the turning isn't amazing. And, you know, it can feel a little bit clumsy. And really, it comes down to that 6.1 detect versus 5.6. I mean, that is just everything. Even in today's game, even in Tier 10 with the radars, I know, and the planes and everything, I still want that 5.6 detect. That's what I want. That's what I want out of a Japanese torpedo boat. But that doesn't mean that Hayate is a bad ship. It's fun. This was a fun game. If you have it, play it. I just wouldn't seek it out. And I'll see you guys in the next one.